Going into the 2023 Border Gavaskar Trophy, there was understandably some pressure on head coach Rahul Dravid. The 2022 T20 World Cup and Asia Cup had not ended as expected, and to make matters worse, Australia were coming into the Test series having been in rampant form at home at least. India, on the other hand, throughout 2022 had played just one Test match. That's right, one Test match in the latter parts of 2022, and there were a few which were played earlier in the year, but generally speaking, it was a year more for white ball cricket. Thankfully for India and for Rahul Dravid himself, they did end up retaining the Border Gavaskar Trophy with a 2-1 series win in the 4-match Test series. That being said, at least according to Dravid himself and what he spoke to the host broadcasters after the match, this series was quite the challenge, even if it didn't always come across that way on television. In fact, Dravid singled out two individuals in particular for some very high praise, and that is Australia's young spinners Todd Murphy and Murphy Kuhnemann. This is what he had to say on both of them. He said, they have played individual spinners, they being Australia, who have been great over the years, but I think this is their best spin attack in the last 10 years. Our guys were saying these are the toughest spinners that we faced since Graham Swann and Murphy-Panesar. Now, that is high praise indeed, especially when you consider the fact that when Swann and Panesar were bowling in tandem, they actually ended up leading England to a series victory in India. It was a big achievement for that England Test side. And according to Dravid, these two, Kuhnemann and Murphy, alongside Nathan Lyon, who he also showered plenty of individual praise on, hunted well as a pack, and that was what was so important for the Aussies, because as I said, there have been many great individual spinners who've come, but there'll be one good spinner and that's it. They weren't able to hunt in packs. This time around, what advantage they had? They were able to bowl a proper spin bowling unit and not just have one spinner, and that, according to Dravid, did actually give the Indians some headaches. But of course, he didn't only speak about the Australian spinners, he also had some special words not only for one player in particular, but also how it is that India fared and how he felt about the series win. But first, let's talk about that one particular player, and that player is Shubman Gill. Dravid had some plenty of interesting words for Shubman. He said, there has been an exciting 4 and 5 months for Shubman Gill. It's very exciting to see a young player coming in and maturing. And it's also great exposure for him to learn from the likes of Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma and Steve Smith. Now, Gill in many ways from like the end of 2022 till pretty much now has been having an absolute golden run. He's gotten a Test century in that point, ODI century, even a T20I century. So it's safe to say that the youngster from Punjab is in absolutely flying form and arguably the best form he's been in ever in his career, and now really does seem like the time to stick with him and hopefully give him the time to mature even further and also end up picking up more tricks and hopefully see him become that next great batsman for India across all formats. Speaking of course, the Indian cricket team, Dravid also shared how it was or how the boys felt when they were able to finally retain the series, because as he said, as you saw earlier as well, he said that it wasn't that easy even if it looked that way on TV. This is what he said. He's saying that it was a hard-fought series. There were moments where we were put under extreme pressure and we managed to respond. To be able to compete and get the better of them is a proud achievement. Now that says a lot, because again, these were in conditions that India were far more familiar with and far more at ease at than Australia, at least for the first part of the Test series. So if Dravid is rating this such a high Test win and saying that it's a proud achievement for us to beat the Aussies, you know that getting there was actually easier said than done. Even though looking at it from our end, we thought, okay, it did seem like India were fairly comfortable for the most part. They weren't. They had to scrap hard. They had to fight. And in the end, the Border Gavaskar Trophy stays in India, and India's golden run against Australia carries on even more. And that's some of the interesting things that we thought Rahul Dravid said. If you think of anything else which caught your ears when Dravid was talking to the whole broadcasters, you can let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and tap the bell icon. Besides also following us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Last but not least, don't forget to download the AajTak app. Thank you all once again for joining us. Again, if you're already on the channel, please go ahead and check out some other videos that we may have done through the day. For now though, from my side, goodbye.